nice car? Platinum Touch Auto Spa and Car Rental. The Lower Mainland's guaranteed lowest prices on all exotic car rentals. With rentals starting at $39.95, why would you not?
This morning I decided I needed a new planter, so I ran over to Winners. I found this purely by accident, next to this. And the kids' clothes, well, they just kind of jumped out at me. I couldn't resist, but I didn't lose focus until I saw these. What a deal. Designer. They're the reason pedicures were invented. Besides, they go perfectly with my new planters.
The summer entertaining event, Winners.
You should go.
Toyota built their reputation by producing high-quality cars.
And at Downtown Toyota, we built our reputation on high-quality service.
So when you think Toyota,
think downtown.
At Downtown Toyota.
Welcome back to Online 60 Minutes. Gordon Pennington's with us from New York. Salim Jiwa is from Vancouver.
Oh, thank God.
Good to have you here. And Gordon, when we left off, let me read this to you from the newspaper today, the Washington Post, I believe it is. All told, more than 9,000 people are held by U.S. authorities overseas, according to Pentagon figures and estimates by intelligence experts. The vast majority under military control. The detainees have no conventional legal rights, no access to a lawyer, no chance for an impartial hearing, and at least in the case of prisoners held in cell block 1A at the prison in Iraq, no apparent guarantee of humane treatment accorded prisoners of war under the Geneva Conventions or civilians in U.S. jails. What kind of slippery slope have we gone down here, Gordon?
Well, look, this is only part of a larger problem, and domestically, fully one quarter of all the world's incarcerated persons are sitting in U.S. prisons. And our recidivist rate continues to rise because we don't know how to assess accurately what the condition of the human soul is and how to change it. And to the extent that we've got enormous problems with our own justice system, this simply compounds it. But Salim is absolutely right. We must adhere to the conventions that we've agreed to that have a universal application to our behavior in the world community. Now, I understand that terrorism introduces all kinds of new and special problems, but we have got to treat these problems very, very carefully, or we're going to fail to live up to the idea that law rules.
Good point.
We're governed by lex rex, and the law is the standard by which we propose to represent any kind of moral example, as we've discussed earlier, and I think that we are, in fact, failing to live up to many of our responsibilities, and it's time for a very careful assessment of what we must do. All
right, let's take some calls. I'm going to try to get 3 calls in at least. Lauren is on the line. Thank you for waiting and being patient, Lauren. Thank you.
Gentlemen, first of all, I'd like to say that I respect your comments, and particularly the fact that you know, we're looking at this from the moral aspect, and we're sitting here in a country where we don't have that kind of a problem, generally speaking. But the uniqueness to this, at least where I'm coming from, is that, for instance, I have a brother-in-law, okay, who was in Afghanistan. He came home. He immediately had to go to, he's had over 6 months of therapy. He had problems with his family life.
Because of what he experienced in Afghanistan?
Yes, from the experiences. He was told, I don't know how far I should go on this, but...
we need to make it somewhat quick, unfortunately, yeah, Lauren,
okay, well,
because of the length of the show.
Yeah, okay. Secondly, I have a brother who was involved in the Korean War, okay? And similarly, he ended up being in a situation where he was in a mental hospital. I have a father-in-law who was in the Second World War, and all these people have talked about the atrocities. And all I'm saying is that when you have a war, it does happen, okay? And I'm not in agreement with it, but that's war. And my point here is that we're fed by media. And the media, in terms of the convenience of some of this stuff coming out at this point in time, is the motivation more to go against or, for George Bush? I don't know, but I'm in full agreement with what you people are talking about. But my point is that it is war, unfortunately.
Well, thank you, Lorin. Yeah,
there are conventions governing war, my friend. We in the civilized world, to use George Bush's idea of us versus them, there are conventions, the Geneva Conventions that were set up regarding the treatment of prisoners of war. Those are conventions that the United States abides by and expects other nations to abide by when their soldiers are captured. And if we disrespect those conventions for humane treatment that were set out after the World War, we were signatories to those, all of those. And when we treat prisoners of war with contempt and abuse, we can expect that others will mistreat our prisoners when they have their hands on our people.
Okay, let's take some calls. Yousses is on the line. Hi, Yousses.
Yes, hi, Doug. Hi, Salim.
Hi.
I really, what makes me wonder, not the soldiers doing their acts, it's the senators and PhDs and scholars' reaction, and Mr. Gordon. They're taking things lightly, and my question is, how they're going to bring security to Iraq, and they are ready to waste the 25 million Iraqis before bringing security? And did the Americans feel secured after the Iraqi war outside of the United States? And I have another question. Is the Mossad has anything to do with the companies, the civil companies they hired in Iraq to interrogate the prisoners, or anything to do with the Iraqi invasion?
Can I just maybe pass this on to our friend, to Gord? The question, Gord, is the 20,000 or so private contractors, and the most amazing thing that some of these contractors, some of them I consider mercenaries, are hired by the Central Intelligence Agency and the military intelligence people to do actual interrogations. Now, those guys are not bound by the Geneva Conventions. Those guys are not bound by military rules. They're probably bound by the criminal laws of the United States. But isn't that incredible to you that 20,000 of these people are hired in various capacities by the Army? For example, Kooy International enjoys a $388 million business with the government of the United States, including some of the interrogators that are hired by the CIA. Should this be done by civilians?
Yeah, Salim, I agree. This is messy business, and as the gentleman said earlier, war is a very unhappy circumstance in human affairs. I think all of this needs to be looked at very carefully. Remember, this is done in haste. This is done under duress. This is done in highly imperfect circumstances. And I think many of the things that come out in the wash much later, I mean, for heaven's sake, we're still looking at investigations for allegations and events that took place in World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam. We're still sorting out some of the things that take place in these very unhappy circumstances. But to the extent that we're governed by treaties and conventions and laws, we must look soberly at our own actions and be restrained by these conventions and these laws and these ideals. So I think you're absolutely right. This is a very messy affair. But once again, to look at the larger picture, how did we get in these awful circumstances? We cannot forget the horrific circumstances. For example, in Afghanistan, we've hardly spoken about the Taliban and what they did to a generation of women and children and girls and all the other people that lived under this horrifying reign. And the world was decrying this. The UN was decrying this. People were decrying this. And finally went in and liberated these people. But to the extent that you're going to change hundreds of years of culture in one fell swoop, that's very unrealistic. It takes time, and it's a very difficult process. And we may fail along the way to do things the way they ought to have been done.
Gentlemen, we have about 30 seconds here. So,
Gordon, if we fail, we would have failed because we moved out of Afghanistan in haste. We did not contribute enormously as we promised them in terms of reconstruction. Our first task should have been to sort out Afghanistan before we went to a second task, which is proved daunting in Iraq. I think we went to war in Iraq in haste. We should have stayed with Afghanistan. We had liquidated terrorism there. We were winning the war on terrorism, and that's all we needed to do.
Okay, Gordon, thank you so much from New York, and I have to go. Thank you so much. Salim, as usual, so much. I'll be back with my final comments right after this.
Accommodations for online are provided by Ramada Surrey Langley. When in town, stay at the Ramada Surrey Langley. Country comfort, city service.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by new Tums Smooth Dissolve. Discover the silky smooth texture that dissolves in seconds and goes to work fast with Tums Smooth Dissolve.
The finishing touch is having a garage sale. Canada's largest manufacturer and retailer of hardwood flooring and wood moldings is cleaning house. For 3 days only, you'll save on everything in the store. Sale Friday through Sunday, Burnaby, Richmond, and Langley.
Mom, yesterday, Tina took her first steps. Isn't that amazing?
I didn't know Maytag made ovens.
Not just any oven, the biggest one ever. The new Maytag range has the largest capacity you can get, with room for a turkey and 4 sides. The new Maytag oven, big enough for all your baking needs. Get a $50 factory mail-in rebate on select ranges. Maytag, depend on us. Available at Sears.
This morning I decided I needed a new planter, so I ran over to Winners. I found this purely by accident, next to this. And the kids' clothes, well, they just kind of jumped out at me. I couldn't resist, but I didn't lose focus until I saw these. What a deal. Designer. They're the reason pedicures were invented. Besides, they go perfectly with my new planters.
The summer entertaining event, Winners.
You should go.
Experience true rest and relaxation in a custom-built Bullfrog Spa, the only spa with removable massaging jetted seat packs. Our 15 upgradable interchangeable jet packs are designed to target specific muscle groups. Or consider investing in a family heirloom. Golden West billiard pool tables are from entry-level to the ultra-high-end. Our in-house design, laminating, wood-turning, and carvings are a mark of the industry standard of excellence. Visit Key West Spas and Billiards, North Vancouver, across from the Capilano Mall, or log on to livebetter.ca.
634. I got it.
Lavish scattered, database passengers, Panagon styrofoam of yore, and I believe in love, I believe in love, but there's still more.
Revlon, Color Stay Overtime Lip Color.
The finishing touch is having a garage sale. Canada's largest manufacturer and retailer of hardwood flooring and wood moldings is cleaning house. For 3 days only, you'll save on everything in the store. Sale Friday through Sunday, Burnaby, Richmond, and Langley.
Don't miss 60 Minutes 2, followed by Doug Kooy with Online, tomorrow at 8 on Now TV.
I was thinking about the clothes for tonight, and for some reason the lyrics to the John Lennon song kept passing through my mind. A couple of lines really hit me. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Great words to a great song, but one can really only imagine, along with John Lennon, what it would be like. There's so much hatred and bitterness in this world. As we speak, somewhere in this world, people are being murdered for their beliefs or because they are in the wrong place at the wrong time during a conflict that is being dealt with using guns and bombs. Why is it that we as humans have such a hard time loving one another? Why is there the need for war? I'm sure there are answers, but I'm not sure there are good ones. Jesus was called the Prince of Peace. He brought a message of love and forgiveness and reconciliation to a world that was full of hatred and bitterness, and they were separated from God. He took the message of peace with him when he was hung on a tree for you and me. And in the middle of all that hatred, he said, Father, forgive them. He offered the kind of love that would make this world a better place. He offered us a way to live on this planet in harmony and peace. So far, we have not gotten the message. One can only imagine why not. For Online, I'm Doug Kooy saying good night. Till tomorrow night, God bless.